It's fashion tea time. For this tea, we're sipping apple cinnamon, lightly sweetened with a honey spoon. This is Potomac Season 7, Reunion Part 2. So they open up with Wendy addressing Giselle, saying that Giselle is being an opportunist and conveniently waiting for cameras to start rolling before she discussed the situation in which she felt uncomfortable when Chris last season asked her to come to a room, and there was nobody else in the room. So Candace also chimes in, obviously, because this is about her, and she starts telling Giselle that Giselle needs to focus on what's going on with her in her personal life and her dwindling uterus. Candace, that was a little low blow. But Candace is saying, Giselle, you need to be worried about what's going on in your life and put that on TV instead of trying to wait until cameras start rolling to show my husband in a bad light and try to make him look like a predator. Maya is chiming in on the side from the peanut gallery, and she's just kind of making these little statements. Andy is trying to clarify the situation, and he literally asks Giselle straight up, is the issue that you were in the room alone with Chris, or is the issue that Chris made you feel uncomfortable by his actions or words that made you feel uncomfortable? Giselle's like, y'all playing semantics. And Andy's like, yes, we are playing semantics because it's very important. And it's true. There is a difference. If Chris was in the room with you alone, Giselle, and he did not do anything and you just felt uncomfortable because you were in a room with a married man, that is a Giselle issue. You should be able to be in a room with a married man or unmarried man if that man is not doing anything to you and feel uncomfortable, because you should feel comfortable with yourself. So that is a important distinction. Candace is still shutting Giselle down, saying you had 6 months to discuss the situation with me, but instead you waited until the cameras start rolling. Giselle's like, well, I really wasn't going to say anything until the situation came out with Ashley, and then I decided to say something. So again, Mia is chiming in, and Candace put her hand out and said, shut up, Mia, and then went back to Giselle. All right, Mia is still chiming in, and she told Candace, why don't you just acknowledge that your husband made your friend feel uncomfortable or did something inappropriate? And Giselle said, no, Chris did not do anything inappropriate, but he did make me feel uncomfortable. So there is that clarification. Giselle is even saying herself that Chris did not do or say anything inappropriate to her, but she is saying she felt uncomfortable being in a room with a married man. So again, that is a Giselle issue. Now they talking about Ashley and Deborah. So Deborah is Ashley's friend that came on this season talking about Chris was flirting with her, and also some stuff about Eddie, Dr. Wendy's husband. So when they played the tape back of Deborah alleging that Chris was trying to come on to her, obviously it was very clear that Chris was not coming on to her. He didn't even initiate the conversation. Deborah initiated the conversation with Chris, and Chris, you just replied like, in a nice way. He didn't do anything inappropriate. So Ashley had to put her head down when she saw that read clip and said, oh yeah, the words didn't actually line up with what Deborah said and what was actually seen. Okay. And she's like, well, I don't know Deborah to be a liar. Well, guess what? Deborah is a liar, and she clearly lied for the world to see. Again, Candace is like, y'all not gonna make my husband look bad to the world. And don't worry, Candace, we see what Giselle and Ashley are doing. So no, that is not on Chris. All right, now they go into the IG live about Candace. So Candace did an IG live, and when she was saying that all the ladies are fake and they're not friends and they hoes and whatever, she was just venting, whatever. So Robin decides to air what Candace said on IG live for all the girls at the table while they were in Miami. So Candace is like, why would you do that, Robin, when I wasn't even really talking about you? She was just kind of venting. Robin is like, well, I was in my feelings because of what you said. And then she starts trying to decipher like who Candace was talking about pertaining to who has businesses or who had businesses at that time and who didn't. And Candace is like, I really wasn't even talking to you. You should have just came to me personally. If we are friends and you feel like I am talking about you, you should have talked to me personally instead of trying to shade me at the table. And Candace is like, you made yourself look stupid because I didn't look stupid. I don't feel any way. Robin then puts her foot in her mouth because she's like, we are all here and everything we do should be on camera. Okay, we'll get back to that one, Robin. I don't know why you said that. Clearly, with everything that's going on with you, that was not played out on camera. But, okay, on to the next. So then it goes to about the conversation about like who Candace looks up to and who she doesn't look up to. Candace, says that Robin was one of the first cast members that she really bonded with, that she's close with. She also said that she's no Robin longer. Wendy said that she kind of feels slighted because after Candace has said that, Robin then played the tape for the table. And so then Wendy's like, well, is this the friend that you're saying is such a faithful friend to you? Or loyal to you? So, I don't think it really matters who Candace is closer to or not. And, all the ladies just have their own relationships. Dr. Wendy, don't feel anyway. Candace can be friends with whoever she wants to. But Candace, also understand that this is a show. All these people are not your friend. Look at what Robin did to you. You have to think about friendships. Okay. Now they go into a lunch break. The husbands have come in, so they're in the back rooms and they all talking to the ladies, whatever. Gordon, who is Mia's husband, he said, no, I'm not giving no hugs. Dr. Wendy's like, yeah, you don't want to be accused of any accusations of making anyone feel uncomfortable. So they just laughed or whatever. Okay, so now they talking about Giselle and Karen. Karen, at the beginning of the season, went to Giselle's newly renovated home. Yes, nice. Good job, Giselle, on renovating your house. So while Karen was there and the cameras were rolling at the house, Karen said to Giselle, oh, your house is beautiful. It's a gorgeous home. But then Karen was throwing major shade unnecessarily, saying, that, it was nothing. Like, that was unnecessary shade. You went over to her house, you saw that stuff. While you in her house, you telling her your house is so beautiful, it's so nice, and it's, if you didn't really like it, you should have just not said that. Don't say your house is beautiful and gorgeous and then talk about, oh no, it was nothing. Okay. But Giselle, you did an amazing job on your renovated hotel. Yes. So enjoy your home and all your hard work, okay? I don't know about some of the decorations you be doing in your home, but that's not neither here nor there. So just enjoy your home and that's it. Okay, so now they're talking about how Karen, Karen says that sometimes the ladies do similar things as far as career ventures, and it's like a girlfriend mind frame. So what they're saying is that Karen seems to take others' ideas as far as careers or businesses. So Wendy said that she was doing some home line and she was going to introduce these 3-wick candles, and Karen did have her home essential line already going or whatever. I did not hear about candles before then, and then she came out with the candles after Dr. Wendy invited Karen to her home to show her candles. And then Karen is like, well, I came out, I'm having my candles, and they're gonna be 4-wick candles, not 3-wick candles. So Karen is like, I didn't tell Wendy about my idea for the candles when she told me about hers because I didn't want to take her shine, but I already had my candles in production from years before. Okay. Then that also translates into Robin and Giselle starting their live show. So they have a podcast, and because they felt their podcast was doing so well, they transitioned to also doing live shows. And then Karen comes out with her live show as well. So Andy is like, do you see this kind of pattern where an idea is brought up about a business or career, and then Karen takes that on and kind of goes with that? So you can slightly see it. I mean, Karen has her own ideas, and she's, does her home line with her perfume and all these things. So I don't think she's like directly taking everything from the ideas from these women, but maybe some of the stuff is just kind of feeding off on her. Okay. But Karen says that the idea for her live show came from Wendy Williams. Okay. Then Andy asks, what and who are the Ladams? Okay. And Karen's like, the Ladams are people that she named as her supporters. People have that. We know about like Beyonce, the Beehive, and Rihanna. These people have these celebrities. So Karen has named her followers Ladams. So Giselle said, when you said Ladams stand up or rise, did anyone stand up? And Karen is like, yeah, in social media during my 300 person live show, yes, they did. And then Andy, he want to throw in his little shady questions. If there was a group called the Robins, what would they be called? And Karen answers, boring. They always trying to say Robin is boring. Okay. Then Andy says he presents a question or comment from a viewer named Lauren, and this is to Giselle. Lauren said, thank you, Giselle, for being open about your hysterectomy. It's something a lot of women go through. Have you had the procedure yet? And if so, how are you feeling emotionally and physically? So Giselle replies, after 7 seasons on Potomac, this was the biggest feedback that she had gotten from women. Candace chimes in and says, yeah, that's because it's the first time you were real about something. That is actually a little true. Giselle continues, there were a lot of women who could relate and sympathize to what she was going through as she was getting her uterus removed. And, that kind of makes you feel like not a woman anymore and things like that. Giselle said, yes, she had the surgery and it was highly traumatic. It was supposed to be a 3.5-hour surgery, and it ended up being 8.5 hours due to unforeseen complications. Her daughters were freaked out because she told them she wasn't going to spend the night in the hospital, but she ended up doing so due to the complications. So Andy asks Giselle, considering that Giselle's kind of closed nature about herself, and how did it feel telling her daughters about her hysterectomy on camera? Giselle said it was super hard. She didn't know how her daughters would react, and she knew that they were going to be scared. Giselle started getting visibly emotional while she was talking about this, and she tries to compose herself, and she stops for a second, and then she turns to Andy and says, we'll talk about this later. And Andy says, no, we are talking about this now. And Giselle continued, and she said, she continued talking about how her children were traumatized. Then Giselle dropped a little bomb. I don't think she realized she was going to say this. I think this one slipped. Giselle said that her sister was in contact with the doctor, so that was kind of being the relayed through information, and then for some reason that connection got lost. The sister was no longer getting updates on Giselle's condition while Giselle was in the hospital, so that means the daughters weren't getting the information. So the drop was that Giselle has a sister. So Giselle has been on this show for 7 seasons, and there's been no mention of her sister or obviously pictures or anything. And for me personally, that is okay. I don't need to know every single detail about your life. But obviously it seems like This is some sidebar tea. The internet went crazy after this because they're searching for Giselle's sister. They want to see who is this person, and obviously this just kind of brings up more the situation about Giselle withholding information, which is okay for me. So the internet went and looked up Giselle's sister. It seemed like she might be like an older woman. She might do some singing or something. But this is the situation that the internet is looking for Giselle's sister. All right, so Andy says, Giselle, I'm glad that you did the surgery and that you're okay. And then he also discusses Giselle's reservations to talk about her life on camera, considering she is taping a reality show. Giselle is not receiving this. She's coming back with, no, that's not what it is. Also, I do say things that are taped, but production does not show them. I don't really know, we don't know if that's true or not, but highly doubtful. Like, if Giselle was giving some juicy information on tape, that production would be showing it. Okay. The other ladies are also chiming in and saying, like, yeah, you don't hold yourself accountable the same way about disclosing information. Karen chimed in and said that. Candace said that. And even Mia said that. The way that Giselle does not disclose her personal information but expects others. And again, Giselle is not hearing it. She is saying no, that is not the case. Then Andy starts talking about Giselle's love life. Okay. So in season 4, she had brought an old kind of like flame that she messes with sometimes, Steve. And so Andy asks Giselle about Steve, and then hot stuff from Winter House, Jason, that she's also now linked to. So Giselle's response was that she sees Steve occasionally when he comes to town, but she does not ask him to come to town. And then when it comes to hot stuff, she said Jason asks Giselle when he can come to town. Okay, so there's a difference. So it seemed like, yeah, Giselle, do what you want to do, She's single, go date. The thing about Giselle and her love life, Giselle brings past boyfriends, past lovers on the show. Most of the men that Giselle brings on the show are going to be people that she used to be in a romantic relationship with, and she still talks to them. Like this guy, Steve. There were also other guys. She even brought her ex-husband onto the show as if she was going to start rekindling a relationship with him. So this is kind of Giselle's MO when it comes to relationships. She did have that other new relationship with the guy like 2 seasons ago, and we saw all of that. But her MO with relationships is to bring past relationships up. So, she did say, though, that her daughters met the hot stuff from Winter House, Jason, and they grilled him and they liked all his answers. So she was all smiling about that. Robin chimes in and says, what's the age difference between Jason and Giselle? Giselle says she is not a mathematician, but the other ladies did the math for her. So Andy said that Jason is 36. So they did the math, and there is a 16-year difference between Giselle and her new boo, Jason, which is okay, fine. So Giselle said, yes, he has energy. And Andy said, were you with him last night for a reunion prep? And Giselle smiled and she said, yes, we prepped. So Andy said, will we see Jason next season if y'all still dating? And Giselle said, sure, yeah, y'all see him. Let's see. We'll see if we see him next season. Okay, now they on to Wendy. So they talking about Wendy and how she wanted to open her lounge with a Nigerian lounge because she's from Nigeria. Yes, Dr. Wendy. So she met with Peter, and Peter does businesses. So if y'all don't know, Peter is Cynthia's ex-husband from Real Housewives of Atlanta. Okay, so you see Peter every now and then popping up on these shows, and he also owns businesses. He owns Bar One in Baltimore, and he also owns Bar One in Atlanta, or another bar in Atlanta. So Wendy was trying to hook up with Peter to open up a Nigerian lounge. That did not go anywhere. And sidebar T, Peter is actually dealing with some criminal charges for some behavior that he displayed at his restaurant, his lounge, when he physically assaulted a woman. That was possibly in 2021. So that is still kind of going. All right, so back to Wendy. We see Wendy, kind of transitioning in her life during this time. She's dealing with what's going on with her family, her children, her career, and her additional career endeavors, and also just kind of adjusting and being on the show and trying to find herself and footing in life. So they show Wendy, she had her health scare. So Wendy, definitely take care of your mental health and physical health, because your mental health affects your physical health directly. But it's good that you seem to be doing better, and you seem to be doing well on finding your voice in life and on the show. Okay, Dr. Wendy, so just keep on taking care of yourself. So that's it for this fashion tea to love, health, happiness, and wealth.